Test, test. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first of the Community Marlboro Return to Learn presentations. If we could all stand for the pledge, and we'll start our meeting. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody, and we'll turn it over to Mr. Brooks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for chiming in with us or tuning in tonight for our presentation. It's an updated version of a presentation we gave at a board meeting about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Tonight, we'll give you an opportunity to also ask questions. I would ask if you would put those questions that you have not already submitted in the comment section on our YouTube page. That's the best place to get us the questions while we're working on this presentation. I will address questions at the end of the presentation. I think that the presentation we've put together tonight is comprehensive and has what I believe will encapsulate all of the concerns and understandings that are that have been presented to us by families and staff members. And I want to thank our staff members that have sent in questions already, our administrative staff, and our board members that have also helped guide me in clarifying and putting together a program that's as cohesive as possible for us for this coming school year. So thank you very much to everybody that helped. So if we start our return to learn discussion with what is the broader goal, or what is the broader goal set for returning to school? This is a set of goals that has been at the core of our planning for the last couple of months, and certainly really has fine-tuned over the last couple of weeks, and is responsible for the direction that we're heading. At its core is maximizing time that students and teachers are with each other. We want to figure out ways that we can maximize our time together. In an ideal world, it's every day, every student, every teacher. Obviously, we know that we're not in a situation right now where we can safely bring every student, every teacher, every staff member into our schools every day. Another key piece is establishing and following the necessary safety measures so we can minimize the transmission of illness. Not just COVID-19, but certainly COVID-19 has been at the precipice of all of this. But I also think a third very important element is recognizing and respecting the difficult challenges that everyone is facing. Families, children, staff members, elements regarding health, their food source, learning, family issues, daycare, and the list can go on. And recognizing that these difficult challenges span the gamut of our entire community. So these are the three pieces that are at the core of what guides us in developing this plan. I want to also start out with making sure there's clarity on who to contact for questions regarding your children's programming. At the high school and middle school, the primary point of contact will be your principal and assistant principal, and I've listed phone numbers there that you can reach them. You can also get them via email, and their email addresses are posted on their web pages, so they're easy to get to. But also your guidance counselors are a great point of contact, especially as we get closer and closer to the school year, because they're going to be the ones that are putting together your student schedules at the middle school and high school. At the elementary school, your principal and your assistant principal are primary points of contact for questions that you have specific to what goes on at that school. I also want to make sure it's simple for people to get to these meets. We have 3 of them scheduled. Obviously, tonight is the first one. You simply have to click on the link in the presentation and you can get yourself to our meet. So I will be sending this presentation out tonight after our meet, and you can use that link to get to the YouTube channel, or you can simply go to our webpage and get to our YouTube channel to watch this live. You certainly are welcome to attend and watch all 3 meets. However, you're not required to, obviously, and it's going to be a repeat each of the 3 times. So the presentation has been designed so that it is easily accessible for people and it's repetitious, so that if you weren't able to join us tonight, you will be able to join us possibly at one of the other meets, and it'll be the same presentation. So let's start off. When does school begin? September 2020. We are going to begin with staff only for September 1st through 4th. That is an official change to our calendar that the Board of Education took. And the purpose of those 4 days is our staff needs a lot of training. They need a lot of time so that they can create new spaces within their classrooms to support a different learning environment. We're going to be training on health protocols. There's going to be technology support. There's going to be some fine-tuning of curriculum instruction and planning between teams and departments. It's a lot of concentrated time for our staff to work on matters to get ready for students to learn and return to us. Then, beginning on September 8th, for the week of the 8th through the 11th, we're going to have a slow, soft opening for our students. So if you have not received it already, students will receive a letter that identifies the hybrid group that they are in, A or B, and also identifies which day of the week, for the week of September 8th, you are to come to school. So that letter details out what happens during the course of the time that week. And really the purpose is so that we can slowly reintroduce our children back into the learning environment and allow our staff to walk around their classroom figuratively and introduce their children to their classrooms in a watered down approach with fewer and fewer students at any given time. For those that have signed up for the online academy, that the in-person hybrid and the online academy begin in full on Tuesday, September 15th. So both those programs begin in their full version on September 15th. Some questions have come up about the online academy and regarding the deadline for signing up. And the deadline for signing up for the online academy is the end of the day tomorrow, Thursday the 13th. And really the purpose for that deadline is that we need time to plan. Governor Cuomo has not given us the luxury of time with the announcement last Friday. So we're scrambling to pull together a program, and we're going to put a quality program together. But we do need time. So a commitment from families is essential in order for us to put together schedules and class periods and teacher assignments. So that's why the deadline of tomorrow. So let me get into what the hybrid A-B option is. And as we sit right now, we've got a little bit more than 300 people that have signed up for the online academy. So the 300 people that have signed up for the online academy, I will speak to the online academy in just a few moments. For those of you that have not and intend to have your children come to our schools beginning in September, you are in the hybrid A-B model. And the letter you received or will be receiving from your principal identifies whether you're in Group A or in Group B. It's students will be attending remotely and in person on alternate days. The chart at the bottom shows that if you're in student Group A, you will be in school on Tuesday and Thursday, and you will be remote on Wednesday and Friday. And then if you're in student Group B, you will be remote on Tuesday and Thursday, and then in school on Wednesday and Friday. Student priority group is identified as a cadre of our special needs students that are in self-contained classes. Those students will be identified and notified specifically by their principals in our special education office. But K-12, it's our self-contained special education population. We call it our student priority group. And they will be in school every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Noted for all groups, Monday is a remote day for all students. So Monday is dedicated to communication and collaboration. A major problem that we had back in the spring was that we had students dropping off in participation. Students casually participated, students partially participated in large numbers, and we need to improve that significantly. We're going to change things the way that we do our work, so there's going to be an awful lot more live time, and teachers will manage that through with families, and I'll speak to it in just a little bit. But we also are dedicating a day for planning, for teacher to student conversations, for teacher with family conversations, teacher and teacher planning, and also teachers with admins. It can also be a day where there can be small meets with teachers and small groups. So there might be a time that I need as a teacher to meet with a few of my students so we can do some progress work, maybe reflect on the previous week. That's what Monday is for. It's remote learning. Children are working still on Monday on assignments that have been provided by their teachers, but there's an awful lot of work going behind the scenes, and a lot of communication is expected between teachers and families so that we can keep our kids on track. As I said, group letters have been mailed home. Generally, the way that we establish our groups is last names of A through LIO is in Group A, and last names of LIT through Z is in Group B. For those families with blended last name, the eldest child in the family determines Group A or Group B, but we have grouped entire family sets in the same group. We feel that that's simpler for families to plan for daycare and also transportation, and it also keeps family members together for things like bus rides. We are going to be supplying Chromebooks for all students K through 12. 6 through 12 students already have Chromebooks. K through 5 Chromebooks are on order, and distribution will happen once they arrive. We will be supplying iPads to some of our younger population, and the details about Chromebook and iPad distribution will come out shortly. But I want families to know that we recognize that access to equipment is an issue to help for live meets, and we're going to be supplying the equipment to help you out back at home. But I also do want to make sure I emphasize and remind that students will be working 5 school days a week, Monday through Friday, 2 days in school with their teachers and 3 days remotely online. And that is work that they are going to have to follow through on, and teachers will communicate progress frequently. Teachers will also be coordinating the work for the individuals and also groups of students for the remote days. Also, a centerpiece of the hybrid model, career and technology education students, the C-Tech students, the students that travel out to BOCES for the specialized C-Tech program. Yes, that's still going to be happening. That is being coordinated right now through Orange Ulster BOCES in Goshen and our high school administration. Special education programs and IEPs, yes, they are fully in force, and that is being coordinated by our special education office. Related services, yes. In-district placements, yes. Out-of-district placements, yes. All integrated into our hybrid A-B model. Regardless, whether you're special education or general education, the program obviously will look very different than it did when we were all together in a regular class setting. But all of the requirements will be met for all students. For our online academy, this is 100% online learning from the beginning of the school year. This is an option that was rolled out on Sunday, spoken of at our last board meeting, but rolled out in an official format on Sunday. And this is for families who are uncomfortable with their children attending live in person. It's a full line option beginning in September, and families have already signed up and committed through the end of January 2021. This is a robust program that will be very different than what we did in the spring. Principals will be posting specific detailed sample schedules on our Return to Learn website within the next couple of days. A question came up about the continuation beyond January. Those discussions will begin this December, and elements regarding the status of COVID and any other New York State guidance driven by our governor will help us make decisions about if our online academy should and will continue beyond January. And quite honestly, it's so far in the future, there can be so many different changes in our health situation that it's too early to predict what goes on beyond January. So the commitment is we will have discussions with families about continuation beyond the January 30th end date, which is now in place. Online Academy will be significantly more structured than the online program in the spring. We'll have more live meetings and lessons. Principals are working on schedules and courses as we speak. So now that we're getting our registrations, as I said, we've got a little more than 300 students currently enrolled in the Online Academy. That's why we need that information now, because we need to create 300 schedules for all of our children in the Online Academy. And we need to match up staff members with those children. Those schedules, by the way, will be available, as will hybrid schedules, via School Tool at the end of the month, just like normal. The Online Academy is a combination of live instruction and posted lessons and assignments. It is very important that we are significantly more structured than we were in the spring, but we also have to make sure we strike that careful balance. So there has to be some flexibility built in. We certainly do not want to overwhelm our children, and we don't want to overwhelm our families with too much all at once. There will be opportunities for teachers to work on their daily and weekly schedules, and it will vary by grade level. Principals and teachers will communicate the specifics regarding your Online Academy program directly with you once you're enrolled in their courses. As I said, Chromebooks will be supplied for all students K through 12. 6 through 12 already have their Chromebooks. K through 5, we will get them their devices, whether it's for the youngest being an iPad or our older elementary students being Chromebooks, as soon as they arrive. Again, the deadline for enrollment in the Online Academy is August 13th, 2020. That's tomorrow. We need that deadline so we can create the classes. And again, with the Online Academy, CTEC, Career and Technical Education at BOCES, yes. All elements of the IEP, yes. And it's all being coordinated by our Special Education Office. How do I see the full Return to Learn plan? So if you want to read the full detailed 40-something page plan and any other documents, we've created a portal called the MCSD Return to Learn plan site. You simply go to our webpage, click on the Return to Learn icon, and it takes you right to the page. And there's a full plan that details the health and safety procedures that are required of us, basic instructional design aspects, and it's available on our website. And as I said, we will be populating that site with very specific and detailed instructional plans from our principals within the next few days. So what did the governor require in order for us to open schools? First of all, New York State standards must be taught. Second of all Department of Health guidelines for safety must be met. A new piece that the governor threw at us on Friday was we need to work directly with the Ulster County Department of Health and the county executive and follow prescribed testing requirements. So the goal of that piece of the program is to identify any COVID illness and minimize the chance for transmission. That's purely the goal right there. And I'll speak to the testing element in just a little bit. We are going to be getting written guidance from Dr. Smith, the Commissioner of Health in Ulster County. And once that is issued, I will certainly share that with everyone. We also need to work with the County Health Department for contact tracing procedures. If a COVID case is found in our schools, how do we identify who has been in contact with that person, and how do we isolate that person or those people that have been exposed in a way that's problematic so that the disease and the illness does not spread farther. And that is something that we will work directly with the Ulster County Department of Health on. So the how is, we are in constant contact. I've had live meets over the last week with County Executive Ryan, Deputy County Executive Mark Ryder, and our Department of Health nurses are meeting with our health director and our nursing staff and training on what the protocols are for our medical staff and our administrative staff on how to report and deal with any cases that arise. Health and safety preparations. Every student, every staff member will have their temperature scanned every day when they walk in our buildings. We've purchased scanning equipment that's going to be installed by the end of this month at all of our school main entrances so that we can have a smooth and easy flow of people. They resemble a metal detector that you would see at an airport. It's a cubicle that you walk through, and it scans temperature. Important. We need to know if someone's coming into our school and they have a fever. A fever does not necessarily mean COVID. You can have a fever for a lot of things, especially in the fall, but that person will be flagged and brought over to our health staff, and our health staff will do secondary screening so we know more about what's going on with that person. If that person does have a fever and it actually is not just the scanning equipment, that person will be isolated, the staff member will be sent home, and the student will be sent home as well. And we have immediate contact with the Department of Health and the county executive's office. All offices, we're also going to be minimizing visitors during the day. We need to limit the number of people that are in our schools at any given time, and we need to limit outside elements that come into the building as well. All offices and classrooms will either have a sink with soap or a sanitization station. Social distancing signs and graphics like the dots you see around stores and businesses these days will be in place around our schools and common areas and hallways. Classrooms will look differently. Teachers will be spending time readjusting their furniture so that they can allow for social distancing. Hygiene is an important element of this. Hand washing and mask wearing, education and reminders is essential in this new model. We must all stay clean. Wash your hands, keep your hands away from your face, wear your mask, and stay as distant as you possibly can. We will have additional disposable masks for those that can't get a mask, don't have a mask, or if a mask becomes soiled during the day for some reason. We do have shields available for our staff. We also have safety bags for our staff that include gloves, masks, shields, and sanitizer. And we have enhanced and will continue to enhance our cleaning procedures with our cleaners. And we're working in collaboration with Orange Ulster BOCES Safety Management for those training protocols. And we also will be having frequent sanitizing during the day and every night of all of our occupied spaces. So here's the question. What if someone gets sick or arrives at school ill? That person needs to be immediately isolated. The individual will then be with our nursing staff, whether it's an adult or a child. There will be an additional medical screening and notification to the Department of Health in Kingston that the DOH in Kingston has a dedicated nursing staff just for school districts. And there will also be direct contact with County Executive Ryan. Remember, the purpose of isolation is to control the spread of illness. We will need, this particular case will need to be assessed medically to decide on the isolation of others, and that will be guidance that we get from the Department of Health. They will look at the specifics after they assess the situation, and they will tell us if more people need to be isolated and if there is any quarantining that needs to happen. But I also want to make sure that we're clear on this. All of this will be scary for everyone. This is going to be scary for adults. This is going to be scary for children. This is a new experience. We have not been back in our schools in 6 months. So we don't want to scare people more than they already are scared. So we need to look at the physical illness and deal with that, absolutely. But we also need to make sure we're careful and cautious about the emotional element. Our hearts and minds matter significantly, so we need to care for each other. That's why I want to make sure I leave this slide with a clear message. Moms, dads, guardians, staff members, if you or your children are ill, don't come to school or work. Please stay home. It's important that you get well and come back to us when you're well. If any of you are experiencing any symptoms related to COVID, immediately please go get tested. Go to your healthcare provider, get a test, or go to one of the pop-up locations that are located around the region and get tested for COVID right away. Information is powerful. Cleanliness and health in the schools. Students will be responsible for keeping themselves and their desks clean. This is good personal hygiene. It's important that our teachers educate students on good hygiene and enforce and help supervise and help provide time in order for students to keep themselves and their areas clean. It's an important piece. If we're all in this together and truly all working towards keeping the disease at bay, then we all have to be participants in helping ourselves stay hygienically clean. We will have additional cleaning staff immediately at the beginning of the school year. They will help sanitize common areas, and they will monitor needs during the school year or during the school day so that we can go into areas that need to be cleaned. Believe me, these folks will be working and wiping and cleaning all day long. We do have a lot of cleaning supplies in stock. We have significantly more on order. So we are doing our best to stay on top of the curve of supply demand, which is a challenge, but we do have a lot of supplies in stock right now. We are suggesting that families send their children to school with student hygiene kits. We suggest that at the very minimum, you send your children with personal masks and a backup mask or two in case the one they are using is soiled. If you can get them, disinfecting wipes. There are even videos on YouTube that can show you how to create some with rolls of paper towel and tissues. Transportation requirements. I'm going to actually start with the bottom bullet. While we are going to be transporting our students that are in the hybrid AB program, and that will be half of our students on any given day, so our buses will be significantly have a much smaller population than they normally would. We would like to encourage families, if they can, to drop their students off and pick their students up in the morning, in the afternoon. That will reduce even further the number of children that we have on our buses. But while on the bus, we will require masks. We will require safe distancing in the seats. Please, again, I want to emphasize, if any of your children are showing signs of illness, please do not allow them to board our bus. We need to continuously evaluate our cleaning protocols with Quality Bus, which we will do. We need to encourage social distancing also at bus stops. That's something that we will do with a media campaign. We need to follow cleaning protocols, and our buses nightly and between runs must be cleaned. So far, Quality Bus has been fantastic and is following national guidelines, working with our transportation leaders here to make sure that the protocols for cleaning are followed. Food service requirements. We will adjust how we distribute and also eat our food. So there's going to be a lot more grab and go options. There's not going to be a lot of lines to be able to, won't be a single solitary line for getting your food. There's going to be a lot more eating in classrooms. You might see eating in small areas of hallways that can be controlled. There will be fewer people in the building at any given time. So cafeterias will have to be socially distanced because while you're eating, you're not using your mask. When we can, in the good weather, we're going to use outdoor locations whenever possible. Snack Shack, for those who do not attend in person, will still be a viable option for you to get food. So if you are in our online academy, our food service department is prepared and working on the protocols to get food to you or you to come get your daily food. Building specific plans about the details of how lunch will work and breakfast will work in our schools will be coming out from our principals, and they will be communicating that out to our staff and also our families. But I want everybody to know our children will not go hungry. We will make sure we feed them, just like we have all summer long and back in the spring. The classroom and school environment is going to be different. We are going to be keeping our class sizes small. That's what the hybrid AB model allows us to do. We are requiring face coverings at all times. We should be smart, as we are in classrooms, that there needs to be mask breaks. So when a teacher notices that you are getting fatigued with a mask, teachers will work out some protocols with our principals and themselves and their colleagues on how we can take some mask breaks. Sometimes you just need a break. Whenever possible, we're going to be minimizing student movement so that teachers move and students stay still. That is more challenging at the secondary level, so you'll see less of that at the secondary level than at the elementary level. And we need to emphasize and teach good personal hygiene. Keep yourself and your space clean. Personal responsibility is very important. I also want to make sure I'm clear on this. Grades count, homework counts, assignments count, tests, quizzes, etc. That all counts because students will receive a grade every quarter for all the work that they do. That's one of the reasons why we really are emphasizing that Monday C&C day. We want to make sure that children stay focused and on top of their work, and our staff has plenty of time to help students stay on track and also communicate with families if they get off track. I also want to make sure it's clear attendance counts. Whether you're in our hybrid in-person model or whether you're in the online remote model, and even if you're in the hybrid model, on the remote days, there will be an attendance mechanism so that we can understand and clarify that you are participating on those remote days. But those remote days will be the responsibility of families. There will not be scheduled, consistent schedules, on the remote days from the hybrid model. But I also want to leave this slide with this clear message. We need to all pull in the same direction. Keep each other safe and keep each other focused on learning. I also want to repeat these online meetings. We're having 3 of them. Tonight's obviously the first one, August 12th. You can click on that link when you get the presentation in your email if you want to attend tomorrow's, and also if you want to attend next Tuesday's. But as I said, the presentation will be the same, so there's no need if you don't want to. So questions. I have a number of questions that we've kind of sifted through that I'm going to run through quickly. And also we have a number of questions that I believe have popped up on our comment section that Ms. Mealy and Ms. Hecht are going to be reading to me on the screen so that I can try to address them. But most of the questions that have been asked on our email set have been answered in this presentation. I tried my best to create answers as the questions were coming in. So let me just try to run through some of these very quickly. Would like to know if the survey could all be postponed until the questions have been addressed. I believe tonight has addressed the significant majority of the questions, and we really can't extend the deadline because we need to know who is choosing the online option and then spend time creating their schedule and matching up teachers for those children. Can you please confirm that Marlborough schools will be utilizing the hybrid plan upon commencement of the school year? Absolutely, yes, we are. Is there a conversation about delaying the opening? Absolutely, there have been conversations about that. And the programs that we have in place and our safety protocols that we have in place, we believe that Tuesday, September 15th is the right time to learn, is the right time to return to learn. We will have our soft opening the prior week where students come the one day, but we intend to get things fully running in our hybrid and online models beginning Tuesday, the 15th of September. Some clarifications for the online academy. Is the hybrid in-person plan for the entire 2021 school year or just the first semester? It's unknowable. Right now, we're planning through the first semester. Those that are in the hybrid model are in the hybrid model. Do things change as time progresses through the fall and winter? Absolutely. Could it be that we end up with a vaccination that is widely used and changes the course of events for what COVID is doing? Maybe we could even return to full everybody in every day. Or maybe there's a rise in cases and there's mass quarantining and mass development of disease. I don't know which direction it's going to go, but we are prepared to do all of that. It would be ideal if we could return to learn in a full capacity during the course of 2021 school year. Just as we sit today, that's an unknowable answer. A question here, if 70% of the parents request full remote learning and the other 30% request to send their children every day, then social distancing wouldn't be an issue. Would we be able to have those students, the 30% that want to send their children in every day? Theoretically, yes. That's not the case right now. We've got about 15% of our families have, 15% of our children have been selected into the online academy. Monday communication day is strictly a communication, or will there also be virtual learning? Students will be working on assignments assigned by teachers, and there will absolutely be meets between students, teachers, and families on that Monday. So it's a work day for children and it's a work day for staff. Is there going to be a meet the teacher or walkthrough for kindergarten? That will be a detail to be worked out, but it'll most likely be some type of a virtual model. Same thing with freshman orientation. Again, it will be a virtual model. Chromebook distribution, I already addressed that. That will happen as soon as we get the Chromebooks for K, or the devices, the iPads and the Chromebooks in for K through 5. How do school administrators plan to enforce mask wearing? Look, folks, please talk to your children. Masks are required when you're in our schools. We need to work together and keep everybody safe. There are elements and mechanisms within our code of conduct to deal with this. We don't want to employ that. We want to make sure hearts and minds understand We need to keep each other safe. Keep your mask on, stay clean, wash your hands a lot, clean your desk area, and stay as distant as you possibly can. If we do those things, we can stay in school long. If we don't do those things and the illness starts to spread, it will reduce the amount of time we can be together. And that's not something we want. Remember, the goal is to maximize the time we're together. How do we maximize the time together? Wear your mask, stay clean, and stay distanced as much as possible, all of that. How will cleaning be done during the day? Again, it's a group effort. We've got 2,300 people in our schools every day and more than 150 classrooms. I want all of those people wearing masks, cleaning themselves, cleaning their spaces, and distancing as much as possible. We will also be hiring additional staff to be adding to our cleaning staff during the day so we can have more people wiping down surfaces. Question about what will be cleaned: desks, chairs, knobs, doorknobs, things like that. Yes, those are surfaces that need to be cleaned as frequently as possible. How will the kids store their masks? Well, they're going to be wearing them, so they need to wear them. And moms and dads, please make sure you're cleaning masks. What procedures are in place to increase or improve the ventilation in the building? We have the proper air scrubbing devices in classrooms right now. It meets the minimum standard. We are reviewing to see where we can make some improvements in any spaces. If we need to add more filtering because of specific circumstances, we will. We would also like to encourage people to use as much fresh air as possible. So open up windows if you can. How are fire drills and lockdowns going to be socially distanced? Well, the drills, there are written guidelines in our full 44-page document on how to do that. However, building principals will be working with our staff to work on how to do the drills, and the drills will be different. I want to make sure it's crystal clear. When we're talking about a drill, we still need to do our best with masks and socially distancing. So the drills will look differently, and teachers will have to work on how they're going to customize them for their particular situation. Remember, you're going to have fewer students at any given time, but the drills will look differently. But I want to make sure I'm clear. God forbid it's not a drill. Masks become secondary issues. Distancing becomes secondary issues. If there's a threat to life, whether it's fire or some other issue, choose life right away and get out of the space, evacuate, or lock down where necessary. Drills are one thing, reality is another. So make sure that you're differentiating between the two. What if someone gets a fever in school or tests positive? I already addressed that. How many students in a classroom? I mean, on a rough scale basis, as I said, we've got 2,000 students, 150 classrooms. It's going to be about 50% or maybe a little less than 50% because we've got a certain number that have chosen the online academy and only half the students that remain on every other day. Who will be providing instruction for the online academy? It'll primarily be 90% will be our Marlborough staff, and then we will have some BOCES shared services for the others. Live streaming occurring. There will be a significantly more live streaming. Teachers are working on, or will be working on that. And yes, we will have much more live meets daily, frequently, and more importantly, very effectively. Our teachers are good at this stuff. Can we switch out of the hybrid if we don't feel safe? The answer is no. I need you to commit to the hybrid or to the online academy by tomorrow. That way we can plan. We really need that plan. It's an important piece. Will children switch classes or stay in the same class all day? At the younger levels, they'll be staying in the same class for the majority of the time. In the upper grades, that's virtually impossible. So there will be a staggered or a adjusted dismissal process between periods so that we can encourage children to stay safe. We're going to have principals are working on markings in hallways. And again, remember, it's half the number of students or less than half the number of students on any given day. The saturation level in our buildings is going to be significantly lower. Will the students go outside at all? Gym classes, recess, or other classes? We would like to encourage people to use the outside. The outside has good, clean, fresh air. It gets kids moving. It gives you good times for breaks. Yes. How will students be given an appropriate amount of time for recess? Again, that's a piece that is being built into the schedule for our middle school and our elementary school, because recess is a formal piece. And high school is part of their lunchtime. So those are some details that will be posted by our principals on our website. Will advanced placement regional level classes be at MMS? Will that be impacted? No, you are going to still have those courses. Same thing with labs for living environment or any other science lab experiences. Teachers will be working on the details of how to produce those as we work our way through the fall. Will there be opportunities for clubs and extracurriculars? Yes, we are going to encourage our staff to continue on with our extracurricular activities and our clubs. It will primarily be, if not 100%, be virtual. We do want to have our children have an escape, something that they enjoy doing, and clubs and extracurriculars are interest level based experiences, and we want to continue that. So we will encourage our staff to figure out ways to run their experience in a virtualized way. Electives will be offered just like they would in a normal school year. Are the same teachers responsible for teaching cohorts A and B? They are responsible for A and B. So if I am a science teacher, I teach Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every other day, I have a different group of children in front of me. So during the remote day, children will be working on assignments that I have given to them, either in small groups with other students or individually, depending upon the assignment. How will you mitigate the exposure of students if teachers are seeing other cohorts in different days? That's part of our daily cleaning routine, that we want to nightly clean, during the day clean, and of course, I don't think it has to be said, but please make sure you're showering every single night. It's important. It's important that we make sure that we're staying clean. Services provided, I addressed it already. IEPs, 504s, AIS services, all of those services will be provided under our models. Will there be BOCES? Yes, there will be BOCES for special education programming, for in-district, for out-of-district, and also BOCES for CTEC, our career and technical education programs. How will college classes be affected in both models? We will still have our college classes at the high school. Will we be able to take Regents math and science classes online if we decide to do complete remote learning? Yes. What process will be when students are dropped off at the Walker Rider and the reverse? Mrs. Walsh will be sending out detailed information. It won't look significantly differently. It will be a little slower because we're expecting more drop-offs. However, it's only half of the school at any given time, or a little bit less than half of the school at any given time. So the Walker Rider side, while we're encouraging more people to drive so that kids aren't on the bus, that will be a process still on the side of the building. Will sports be offered in the fall? Right now, there's an athletic association that guides sports around the state and the governor's office, and officially sports are on hold through the latter part of September, and we are anticipating an answer from that organization and the governor's office on if that hold will be lifted or will it be extended. Those are the questions that I had prior to the meet, and I'm certain that Ms. Hecht and Ms. Mealy have some questions that are going to give to me live right now, so I'm going to ask if they would do so.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. There is quite a challenge answering the questions in the chat box, so we do have copies of all the questions. The majority of the questions you have answered already. I would just ask those people who did not get their specific question answered to email it to us so that we can reply back to them, because I won't be able to reply afterwards. There were a couple of questions regarding transportation, drop off and pickup times, and will there be a form to fill out for transportation? That is something that is forthcoming, so you will be getting information on transportation. And Mr. Brooks, a lot of the questions are coming switching between the online model and the hybrid model. When can they do that switching, and will they be allowed to?
We are not anticipating the ability to switch between the two. That's why we're looking for a commitment. Having that commitment from the beginning allows us to keep our schedules and our planning. If we have migration going back and forth between a hybrid model and an online model, we won't be able to provide a quality education for you folks. It takes an awful lot to schedule 2,000 students in 150 classrooms and all their staff members, and keeping that routine clean and smooth requires us to get commitments from folks. So the switching is something that we're not anticipating is an option.
A question about the online academy as far as certified teachers providing the instruction.
All teachers that teach courses in our school district will be certified to teach the course they are teaching.
There was one question about a fee for the online academy, but there is none.
Fee. No fee.
Several questions about Chromebooks, when and how they'll be distributed. That information is forthcoming. It will be sent to parents.
Yep, the first step, we need to get them. There is a backlog on getting Chromebooks ordered. We ordered them about 2 weeks ago, and we should be getting them in this fall. As soon as we get them, they will distribute it out to students. The iPads for the youngest and the Chromebooks for the rest of the elementary school.
That is the majority of the questions. I do think that if people have the opportunity to re-listen to your presentation, all their questions will be answered. And if there's a specific question, if they're emailed to us, we'll be able to respond back directly. With the pace of the comments going on the YouTube, we weren't able to respond to them. Our technology did not allow that tonight. But I believe we answered the majority of the questions that were posted tonight, and we will continue to man that email address so that we can continue to answer everyone else's questions.
Right. So the sixth graders don't have their Chromebooks yet. And I know I said 6 through 12 do. I recognize that they don't. That normally would have been distributed right at the beginning of the school year, and we're prepared for that. So sixth grades will be getting their Chromebooks, and you'll get communication from your school, from Mr. Stanmeyer and Ms. Clinton, on how those Chromebooks will be distributed out to sixth grades. I did see a question about physical education too. We will still have physical education. Those classes will still take place. Obviously, they will look very differently because we need to be distanced as much as possible, and the activities will be different because we would still like to have masks. So those are some works in progress. Again, school will look differently, so will physical education, but it's also a very important element of our program. Anything else, Ms. Hecht or Ms. Mealy?
I believe throughout the presentation you did address everyone's questions, and like I said prior, we will continue to man the email address to answer those questions directly.
Okay, thank you. So I want to remind everybody the best information, a significant portion of emails that we did receive were emails about specific questions for your children. Those are best addressed directly to our principals and your guidance counselors. So please contact them directly and they will answer questions. And I see Mr. Malazzo just unmuted. Do you have something, Mr. Malazzo?
No, when you're done with yours, then we'll do the wrap up. We're going to have to move into a short exec.
Okay. Overall goals, again, I want to reemphasize this. We're maximizing the time that students and teachers are with each other. That's the goal of all of this. We want people back in our schools and we want to maximize that time. We want to establish and follow those safety measures so we can minimize the transmission of disease. And we also want to recognize that this is a very difficult challenge. But we are here to support everyone. We want to do this right. We want to do this well. And we want to make sure we take care of each other socially and emotionally, but also physically. And Mr. Malazzo, I put it back to you.
We just want to make sure we reiterate, I know there's a lot of questions. I'm following the chat. I see there are still some concerns where specific things weren't answered. If the building principals or the assistant principals aren't answering those for you, please email those to the info@Marlboro Central School District email address so that we can not only post the answers, but include them in part of our discussion again tomorrow night. They are coming in fast and furious.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we're not allowed to do an in-person meeting where we could just let everybody stand, and there's no way to try and bring these all back together. So with that, I'm just going to take a motion. We have to go into executive session, discuss the particulars of an employee from a legal perspective. So can I get a motion to go into exec? Karen, second. James. There'll be no action after that. And again, tomorrow night we'll be back here together as a group at 7 p.m. to try and take everybody's questions in and go from there. So all in favor?
Thank you. Joel, let us know when the meeting is ended.